welcome to this week's edition of Wednesday Wisdom. My name is JB Hilliard, and these are weekly video segments that are an extension of our monthly newsletter called Sidebar. And if you're not aware of what that is, that's sound information designed to educate you beyond a reasonable doubt. And you can look down here to see how to sign up for that to get that right in your inbox. We'll have our next edition coming out shortly. But in the meantime, this week's Wednesday Wisdom is about those of you out there who claim to just need a simple will done. So let me start my timer because I could probably talk a long time about this, but I'm going to keep it short and just keep it to a couple of minutes. But when you're out there and you know, I understand a lot of you would try to comparison shop, so to speak, or shop around for an economical price for your estate planning. And particularly for wills, for those of you who are doing your wills, and I hope all of you are. But you want to make sure it's a reasonable price, and I certainly understand coming from the consumer side of things. But when you call and say, well, I just need a simple will. Simple is in the eye of the beholder, so to speak. So a lot of you think you have a simple will, and you really don't. So let me give you a few examples. A simple will is where you, the testator, leave everything that you have to a single beneficiary, that single individual, not to all your children to be divided equally, or your spouse and children, and then you have a 50% and 10% here and 25% there, even though it's your immediate family. That adds a level of complexity. Or let's say you have property, you say, well, it's a simple will because I don't really own that much, or the value of my estate is not that much. It's not based solely upon the value of the estate. There are several different things that come into play there. So if you have, for instance, co-executors instead of successor executors. So there's a level of complexity added because if you have two people that you want to work together on as your personal representatives, how are you going to break a tie if they should disagree with each other on what to do or how to handle your affairs after you're gone? So that adds a level of complexity. Or maybe you just want to leave everything to your children. That's simple enough, right? Well, not if they're minor children. Oh, my timer is going off already, so let me hurry up. So if they're minor children, and here in the state of Georgia, if they're under the age of 18, they need if they're getting a certain amount, depending on what that is, or real property, like your home or a plot of land or something, then that has to go through a conservator. So that adds a couple levels of complexity, even though you say, well, I'm leaving everything to my kids. Well, if they're not of majority age, they're going to have someone to help them manage that until they're of majority age. So there are a lot of other things. I'm sorry, I'm shaking my table. Again, I get excited about these things. There are a lot of things to consider. And again, what you would call a simple will isn't necessarily so simple. And that's why it helps to kind of talk everything out. Get with your estate planning attorney, hopefully me or someone else that you may have in mind or have already worked with. But that's when you kind of look at all the details surrounding what your estate is and what's involved and the people involved and what your wishes are. So you can get a real good determination of what will be needed, and then you can get a good legal quote for the fees. But until then, simple, maybe not so much. As always, I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.